Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Ducksy Gaming and a new video on money making strategies in Path of Exile. Now this is going to try and avoid anything that's going to be related to Atlas passes because we don't know what's going to happen with them in the latest update. So we're just going to go through some simple strategies that work and are efficient. So before we get into the individual methods of making money, I just want to say that although it sounds simple, just playing the content that you enjoy playing is a great way of making currency. There's nothing in this game that will not generate currency, and the more you enjoy a method, the quicker you'll do it. And it will turn the more profitable the quicker you can turn it over. The worst thing you can do is spend loads of time in your hideout admiring your surroundings because the method you've chosen you're just not enjoying at all, and you spend half the time twiddling your thumbs and wondering why you're not making money. So what I would say is pick a method that you enjoy, and once you settle on that method, do it quickly and efficiently. This might mean that you just log on and do an hour's burst where you just do it really quickly for an hour, then you might log off, have a break, go back a bit later and then do it again for an hour. So before we look at some examples, I just want to point out that I'm not going to look at anything that involves trading through Discord, so such as selling crafts or betrayal rooms. I just want to look at proven examples of making money where we're only selling on the PoE website. So the first thing that I did a lot last league is perception contracts. These things are real money makers, and if you run them quite ruthlessly and effectively, you can make multiple exalts an hour. So last league to bulk buy these was around 5 chaos per contract. However, all I did was just collected the ones I found when I was mapping. Once I had 20 to 25, then I ran them all. The thing you're looking for in these contracts are the Divination card chests, as they drop between 3 to 5 stat decks with other random Divination cards. And they also drop Divination scarabs. Each heist that you do can have between 0 to 4 Divination chests, although at high levels 0 is fairly uncommon. Now there's different ways you can run these. The way I run them is I want to run as many as I can as quickly as possible. So once I go into the map, I have a look at the map, firstly see if there's any Divination chests available. If there isn't, I'm just leaving the heist and starting another one. Then I'll just beeline straight to the Divination chests, opening any small ones along the way. Once I've opened those Divination chests, I'm exiting. I'm not collecting the final target and I'm not triggering the alarm. This way I can be in and out within a minute, meaning I can churn over a huge amount of these contracts. So if you run in the high level contracts, you can expect to pick up anywhere from 180 to 300 stat decks from 50 contracts. And this immediately puts you in profit even if you're at the lower end. This means that any other div cards or scarabs you pick up are guaranteed profit. And the stat decks, if you've got over say 100 of them, they'll sell for more money than if you had 5 or 10. So if you're bulk selling these, last league I sold them for 2 chaos if I had around 100. If I had 2 or 300, I was charging 3 chaos, and they all sold really quickly. Now the downside of this method is it's not everyone's cup of tea. There's waiting for rogues to open doors is annoying. There's also lots of doors that you've got to open yourself, so visual clutter can be a bit of a problem. But as we're not triggering the alarm, this method is risk-free. So if you've got a fast character but might be susceptible to dying, as long as you don't trigger the alarm, you can just go back in and collect your loot. On average, I made 2 to 3 exalts an hour doing this. It wasn't my most enjoyable content, so I didn't do it a lot. And I didn't go looking to buy the contracts, but every time I got a good chunk of them, I was running them. The next thing to look at if you've got a character that can kill bosses is Guardian map farming. Now you do need a decent boss killer character to do it because failure means it's obviously going to affect your profit massively. But essentially you can buy a Guardian map normally for the same price if not less than the fragment that drops. So once you bought your map and killed the boss, you then even for money. So any influenced items you can find in that map is profit. Now this one's a lot more spiky than some of the other methods because your profit is really revolving around getting some big influenced items. But if you're someone who can get to map bosses quickly, this is a really good way to make a lot of money. Or if you're someone who likes doing this content and you can churn over map after map after map, then it is going to be some decent guaranteed profit. Next thing we're going to look at is Alva Temples. So now that we can turn our temples into tradable items, you should be completing Alva missions all the time. You should never have a big excess in Alva missions. Now what you're looking to get out of these are the double corruption rooms. So the ones where you can corrupt gems or the one where you can corrupt items. And these were selling for around 1 exalt last league. You're also making money from anything that you do during these master missions. So even when you're generating these temple blueprints, you're making money from what you drop in the temple. So when you sell that temple at the end, that's just 1 exalt really for doing nothing. You were just mapping and doing the content. Now at the time of recording, you want to be completing these in Glennet Cairns because there are Alva nodes that greatly increase the chance that your rooms get to tier 3 rooms, which are the ones that sell. Now this is obviously subject to change, but at the moment, Glennet Cairns is the place to farm your temples. Another option to look at, if you like delving, is delving early on for maps. Essentially what you're looking to do is delve down to monster level 83 depth. As soon as you're there, you then just delve sideways looking for special nodes, Vaal outposts and abyssal chambers. If you can get there in the first week, red maps still sell really well and there's loads of money to have. And a lot of the time in the temples you will find chests with maps in them. And some changes they made in the last few updates mean that those maps now correlate to the level that you're at. So if you're monster level 83, you're going to be getting tier 15 and tier 16 map drops, along with potentially some Guardian maps. Along the way, you want to look for the special nodes, so maybe the fire item nodes, cold item nodes, or minions, because you're going to find some curse on hit rings and possibly a +1 spectre chest that are all worth a lot of money early on in the league. Now this one needs a little bit of time to set up because you obviously need to delve down to the relevant depth first. But once you're there, you just go and delve every time you max out your sulfite and then sell the proceeds at the end. It's also a really good way of gaining XP for your character. Again, downside of this is if you don't like delving, it's probably not going to be the solution for you. But if you like delving to break up mapping and other content, it can be a really good option. Another way of making money that's basically passive is selling stuff that you don't plan on using. Now I'm guilty of not doing this. I'll get to the end of a league, I'll have hundreds of essences, I might have 2,000 ults and 3,000 fusings. But if you're someone, for example, who doesn't fuse items themselves because they hate the RNG of 6-linking, then sell your fusings, you don't need them. Same can be said for alterations. If you don't roll your own items, sell them. Silver coins, if you don't farm prophecies, sell them. If you sell everything you've got, you can make really good money all the way throughout the league. Now we're going to cover bulk pricing items at the end of the video just to make sure people are aware how to do that. And again with these items, the more you have, the more you can charge. Now another option that you can look at is prophecy farming. What I mean by this is there's lots of prophecies that Navali gives you that are worth money. So it might be a prophecy for a tabula rasa or a prophecy for an expensive unique. If you can get these prophecies, you can literally just seal them and sell them. The way you would do this is you would just bulk buy silver coins. You go to Navali, you get all your prophecies, you complete the really easy ones that you can get rid of, and you seal and delete the ones you're not interested in. Early on, you've got the prophecy chains that unlock the different crafts that are worth a ton of money, and they're quite easy to get. And once you've completed one, you're more likely to get another. Now this is something that a lot of people do. I haven't done it in the past, but I think it's something I need to implement because it is really easy money. Essentially at the beginning of the game, you don't want currency. You want your currency to be invested so that you can make more. So do you need to sit on that 100 chaos you've got? Are you planning to buy anything straight away? No, then use that 100 chaos to buy silver coins and go farming some prophecies. It works for everything. The more money you spend on something, the more money you're likely to make. So don't sit on currency just to have currency. So next thing to look at is harvest. I'm not going to go too in depth about this, but there's some easy crafts that can be made through harvest that have got a good chance of making you some money. So I'll just run through a few of them now. But one thing I would recommend for harvest is that you always have some good bases handy to throw harvest crafts at. So if you find a high level hubris circlet, keep it to throw defense crafts at because you might hit a really valuable energy shield helmet. You know, keep some rings aside to throw different things at. Just have different bases available so that if you do get a harvest, it doesn't get wasted because you've got nothing to use the harvest crafts on. So I like to use life crafts on Viridian jewels. The reason being is that there's only 2 life options on a Viridian jewel, totem life or increased percentage maximum life. So I throw life crafts at Viridian jewel until I get maximum life with some decent side ones that would suit certain builds, and then I price that item and sell it. For Stygian visors, I like to use attack, because there's only 2 options, reflect and then ele damage with attack. If you can pick up a decent elemental damage with attack Stygian, it's worth a lot of money. I also like to try and roll cluster jewels, although these can be a bit more hit and miss. But essentially I'm looking to have 1 fire, 1 cold, 1 lightning and maybe a minion cluster jewel in my inventory. Then whenever I get reroll fire more likely, I'll use that on the fire gem, cold on cold and so forth. And then for minion jewels, I'll use attack and physical on it. And then every time you roll on with 2 or 3 passives, just quickly price check it and see what that's worth. But it's a really good way to make some quick money. And then the last one we're going to look at in this video is divination card flipping. Now what I mean by this is there are divination cards where you might need 9 of a card. You trade those 9 in and you get an item from the Valley. Now there are times when the 9 individual cards are a lot cheaper than the final item that it spits out. There are also items that are worth 20, 30, 40 chaos more when they're 5 linked. So what I would look to do is anytime I got a 6 socket and a 5 link craft in my harvest, I will buy the packed divination card. Now 9 of these can be traded in for a pledge of hand staff. Now early on in the league, a 5 link pledge of hands went for around 200 to 220 chaos. The cards on their own went for anywhere between 9 to 15 chaos. So if you can pick them up for an average of 12, that means you're picking the cards up for just over 100 chaos. You then trade it in, use your 6 socket and 5 link craft on that staff, and then you've sold it easily for 200, 220 chaos. This isn't something I particularly like doing because it's frustrating, because you firstly have to find the item that you decide you want to flip, and then you've got to go through the tedious process of buying divination cards. But something to keep an eye on, because you might find a flip that no one else has seen and it's absolutely a crazy money maker. These are the sort of things you need to take advantage of once you find them. Rinse it and then move on, because eventually it's not going to be profitable anymore. So there's 8 simple money making strategies that are guaranteed to make you some profit in Path of Exile. What I'm going to look to do once all of the new Atlas nodes are revealed is bring out a video with another 8 that involve utilizing those passives. So if you've got any money making tips you use yourself or you use lastly that you hope are still viable, obviously if you feel like sharing, let me know. Until the next time, please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and I'll see you in the next video.